YouTube, Soul Tribe, Soul Family, what's going on? Hope everybody's doing well, staying blessed and protected. It's my first live, so hopefully everything goes off without a hitch. All right? Anyway, listen, I wanted to get on here and I wanted to talk to y'all about harassment and what I have been going through over the past couple of years here in Charlotte. And it's it's a lot to unravel, and I'll connect this with the previous video that I had made a year ago, but it didn't stop. It basically got worse as time went on. Things have started to subside now somewhat, but I'll tell you just some things about how this is going on is so how this snowballed. So there's a lot of things that are going on that are being spoken about in the targeted community on YouTube. I think that's great that people want to get on and speak about this sort of thing and all of that. There's a few things that I do disagree on or have differences of opinion with some people. So for me, I don't like to speak about the energy weapons and things like that because I think that's really far fetched. So if people are familiar with Havana syndrome, and recently there was a 60-minute documentary done, or 60-minute special done on that, and how some agents with high clearance levels that work for the United States government were in Cuba, and they all experienced the same sort of brain trauma or injury, and they all explained it the same way, that this feeling of a sensation that overtakes them in different ways, but ultimately pain, severe pain in in their head and their brain, and almost all of them, whether they were stationed there at one point and then moved on to different locations, um, all experienced similar symptoms, to the point where the United States government did open up a investigation into this, and they did determine, yes, there is a weapon out there that is being used to do this. It's not some common weapon, okay? They were able to purchase it through the Russian black market, through a group there that had their hands or was making, or I don't know the exact details of the story. You'd have to go and look at it for yourself. But I do know that they were able to buy it covertly from this organization. So we do have one of these machines. We do know that they exist. But for the targeted individuals, like the people out there, hey, everybody who's coming into the chat, welcome in. Wow, 30 people already. That's pretty cool. Hit the come in, please. Um, and excuse me if I don't get to read all your comments right away. You know, doing this on my phone outside right now. But listen, so basically, if you came in late, I'm just talking about targeted harassment. I'm just getting to the point where there's a lot of people that are speaking about this in the YouTube community, and that's wonderful. But there's a couple of things that I just wanted to touch on, like the directed energy weapon. And I was basically explaining how Havana syndrome has been talked about. There's a 60-minute special done on that, and how these agents all had the same sort of symptoms. They were stationed in Cuba at one point, and they all had these severe pain in their head, whatever, and they all went to the doctors, and they ended up having some severe injuries. So there was so much of the same sort of reporting from different individuals stationed in different locations that they decided to open an investigation. And they did find that there is a weapon that's being used like that. They were able to purchase it covertly through a Russian organized mob group. So the government does have that weapon. But the thing that I'm trying to say is for most of us to think that we're on the level, if you don't have like top clearance levels with the government and things like that, you're more than likely not a target. I don't believe there's a whole bunch of these machines that have been mass distributed and are out there right now, but they certainly do exist. Um, So that's the only thing is like, and then when we get into a lot of this like energy weapon talk and things like that, and you talk about a lot of the invisible factors that come into gang stalking, which are real, there's spiritual aspects to it. And like we just spoke about, energy weapons. I just don't know if it's on the whole gang stalking level or if there's other, maybe other different energy weapons that people are talking about. I haven't experienced that. What I like to stick to is concrete details about what you can prove to law enforcement, how you can force people's hand to look into your situation, and that's really where you're going to get ahead in this whole situation. Also with mastering yourself, and because it's not going to happen in an instant, it's going to take a long time. So that's the whole thing with that. As far as like that, all that does is that creates a little bit of a discrediting community. When people start hearing talk like that, it's already enough that people are like, hey, look, I got half the city following me. They're like, what are you, nuts? Like, why would people be doing that? So when you start talking about weapons and things like that and direct energy weapons, then you really start to lose people, and that's really not helping us as a whole get this out of this stigma in the psychiatric community that we're all nuts, right? So that's why I don't make the content just strictly about this, because that's also what these people would like, is that we just speak about them all the time and, this and that. Now, I will tell you what I have experienced, okay? And like I said, I'm going to branch this to the video I did a year ago, where it got really a lot worse. And you've got to be a person that's analytical. You've got to want to study this stuff. You got to want to find out why this happened to you. Who are the people that are behind it? And I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot, especially if you don't have money for private investigators and things like that. And there's people online that'll tell you, well, that's not going to help anyway. And that's not the case. If you're somebody that gets targeted like I did, you have a lot of people that are snooping in your info, okay? They want to get as much information as they can on you. They're constantly surveillancing you. For somebody like myself, I didn't have anybody in my corner. And they know that, they watch your movements. They know you don't have a lot of friends. They know you stick to yourself. You're alone or whatever. So you're easier to target in that sense and exploit. So it's about recognizing patterns, right? It's about understanding. So like one of the biggest things for me was understanding this whole, you gotta really pay attention to those license plates. You gotta really pay attention to the make and models of the car. You can't just be talking like, hey, these people, they show up here, they show up there. I mean, you've got to be so good with it, like I am. Like it got to a point with me where I could drive in traffic right now, and it's sad to say that this many people were involved in this sort of thing. That's really what broke my heart so much, is that this many people can be fooled, that, literally. So I'll be driving, and literally it's a caravan of cars. Each one of them, there'll maybe be one off that's not been involved, the license plate that I don't recognize, that hasn't been in. When I say a license plate I recognize, I don't mean like I saw it twice, right? I mean, I'm positive this license plate has been stalking me for over a year, not just in this part of Charlotte, that part of Charlotte, when I go to Concord, when I go anywhere, okay? Like, people would love to be like, oh my gosh, he's crazy, he's this and that. Look at the news, look anywhere. This whole theory about targeting and stalking people and harassing people in large numbers is not something that is missed. I don't know why people act like it's something that's hard to believe. Like, so for my situation, it mushroomed, right? It started with a small group of people lying to law enforcement, which is a big hurdle in all of this, because when people do that, then any reporting you do, whatever documentation that you're getting, this and that, you look not credible, because somebody's already came and made false reports on you to discredit you to begin with. I don't like to be a person who's like, the government this, law enforcement just purely this. There is degrees of everything. So to think that, I'm not into this whole like, oh, the government is just, yes, there is the evidence of the government partaking in things like this. It's different than what I think we're going through, okay? But some of the tactics are absolutely being used. You get what I'm trying to say? So I don't like to just be pure conspiratorial in the sense that, oh, the government is after you, this, that, da, 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 da. In my opinion, you have to have a balance with that. I don't believe it's, oh, it's at the top, somebody signs a piece of paper and they're like, all right, Daniel Feldman, he's got to be put on this list where he's harassed and stalked, right? I understand somebody, gets you put on a domestic watch list and things like that, but you can only be on those things for a certain period amount of time. I get people, like I said, put in false claims on you and get the local police departments to look into you and things like that. I get that. That to me is the more realistic thing that happens more of the time. Is it's a local state thing, more of a local thing, and it's hard to get that turned around. Okay, especially if you have a lot of people invested in making sure that the narrative stays concrete. So for me, you have to be so diligent about documenting. You've got to write letters. You've got to force, if you have to, listen, in my previous video, yes, certainly people haven't been doing their jobs, that has changed, right? For sure. And that's, you promote that change, whether it's through consistent reporting, internal affairs reporting, making sure that you're showing up as yourself daily, making sure that what you say matches your actions and things like that. Those things all matter. I'm telling you, if you're getting followed by people in vehicles all the time, you've got to make sure that you're taking down those license plates. Like I said in another video, I know that a lot of you will take what I'm saying with a lightly or grain of salt, but I'm telling you right now that I had gotten so good with that, it would blow your mind. And that's what I've had to be like, all right, you gotta, okay. It's sad when you realize that there's been activist groups that got pulled into something like this. So you have people acting like I'm an ICE agent, literally, right? The Hispanic community, and I hate to say it, but it's just the way it is. I'm Jewish and I speak on anti-Semitism, and there has been groups of people that are not fond of Jews targeting me and following me. And then you have people that should have stepped up and helped, okay, but are too busy worried about some political thing, which is another huge thing that got involved in my situation, which blows my mind, is there's a undertone of political targeting to my situation, okay? There has been teachers, professors, students at university, students at high schools here, okay? Their parents. Like a lot of people, okay? Like a lot of people. And I get it and I forgive them, but for me to sit back and be like, all right, how does this thing mushroom to a scale like this? And I see it now, I get it. And it's just through mob thinking, it's through group communication. The way that they have been tracking me, has been so professional. You can't lose a tail. It's impossible. Okay, so, and I'm not saying this out of any paranoia. I know this, like, I get it, like, it doesn't make me freaked out, it doesn't make me scared. I really do think it's childish. I do not like the way that people have gotten into sabotage relationships and work situations that I have been in, contributed to making them so uncomfortable for me that it's so unnatural, right? Even the traffic in Charlotte for me. When I'm talking about mass group mobbing, it's amazing. I'm like, how do these people not have anything else to do? Like, how can they be, and all night too, with the loud engines, with the noise campaigns, that's stuff all I have gotten. Like, that's tons of that. I get it. But to think like, I don't know, to think that people have seen like somebody like me struggling out here and things like that, and then like chose to dig in harder, take photos. I was vocal about different losses that I've had. I've been very vulnerable, which I'm okay with being. And I've been honest with my audience and my subscribers here because I want to motivate y'all. I don't want to be out here showing you bullshit. I want to show you the real deal. This is what it is. This is what happened to me. There's a lot of you that know this too. Okay, like everybody I know can play dumb, but most of you know what's going on. right? Most of you know when you see me and this and that, and you see me. So so it would be so hard. I wouldn't be able to build any relationships. Like it's a little bit difficult when you realize, all right, this many people were really worse for me, right? And if not worse than that, different types of groups, spiritual groups, all sorts of different things. That people decided, you know what, we want a peace. We can shut this guy down. We don't like what he stands for. Whatever it is, it's all been in vain because I've known all along, and the level that this went to is so deep. That's what really amazes me about it all, is that people can be so coordinated to do such evil things and coordinated to, and like I said in the previous video, like, do not take this as me being like, oh, the world is against me. No, what I'm telling you is coordinated targeting exists. It always has. Okay. It's always been a thing. It's a tactic that's been used forever. Okay. And I just became a person that ended up being one of these people that ended up being targeted. And what I'm saying is it took me a long time. It takes a lot of energy to, number one, not give up, to number two, try and find out where it's coming from, the types of people that are involved, and how to deal with it. And like I said earlier, if you have issues with law enforcement in your area or things like that, or different biases that may be going on in your city, you may have more of a difficult time getting things going, right? This is not a phenomenon that's widely seen in court. Yes, it's stalking, but everybody knows it's a very gray area to this. It's very hard to prove it and things like that. And the tactics that are used behind it to make a person seem, not credible work well. So, there's got to be some laws changed and things like that, and some maybe severe punishments for people that do end up getting convicted for stalking, so that becomes a deterrent for people wanting to do it in the future. But I mean, this is it's been awful in every sense of the way. So that is what I wanted to say to y'all about that, and just kind of let y'all know, like, that's I have been silent about it because, like I said, I don't want to make it the main focus of this channel. It's important. I want all of you to know, people that are out there dealing with it. But, like, understand, like, I have gone through, like, I have walked, driven, rode a bicycle, you name it, all while these people watched me, harass me everywhere I went. Didn't matter. In the stores, out of the stores. Like, I'm so good at recognizing them. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to keep repeating myself. So I'm beyond the gaslighting. I'm beyond anybody that could be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm good. I don't need anybody's confirmation. I don't need anything like that. Nobody's crazy. Daniel's perfectly sane. I understand what happened. I get, the hatefulness that was being perpetrated through all of this, the misunderstandings, that people had about me, whatever, where I come from. I don't know. The rumors that got spread. I don't give a shit, right? What matters to me is what happened, and just moving forward from it. I want to help other people get through it. It's still something that I'm battling through. There's a lot of people that are stubborn that are doing this, that don't want to be like, okay, we have shot our load here. And but once you thin the weeds, then it's easier to get justice for the ones that are remaining, to be stubborn, and so on and so forth. The other thing I want to mention is this, is like a city like Charlotte has cameras everywhere, okay? You got to do what I did, and you got to make the cameras your friend, all right? So meanwhile, these people are just surveying every I made. I was on foot, when I'm driving, whatever. So, in particular, during a brief period where I was just so sick of it, like I was determined to make just the most perfect report I could to submit, because there was no way. You can't battle this. So, like, people will be like, oh, well, you have different actors and different people that get involved. Some people may be, working in high paying jobs and have, good positions or whatever, have positions of authority, white collar, whatever you want to call it. Then you have some blue collar workers. Then you may have some guys from the street that get involved. And, all of that is stuff you have to differentiate from, and know the difference, and how to behave and how to defend yourself against different type of people and groups that may, you know what I'm saying? And not every group is going to know what the other group exactly knows either. So like not everybody knows the whole story. You know what I mean? And that's the big advantage of information campaigns or disinformation campaigns is the control of information. So not everybody's going to have every single piece, right? That's going to keep things carpent. Oh gosh, it's hard for me to say that. Cartman. I don't know. Basically, like, so with all of that being said, you got, yeah. So I mean, it's just a lot of hate that gets involved in this, and a lot of just group thinking and group mobbing. But I mean, we have a serious issue with the way that the surveillance is being conducted, in my opinion, in the way that we have allowed, like, especially some of these young teens and things like that. Like, I could never have imagined me doing anything like this in high school. Like, I was not a good boy, I was definitely not at all, but like, you wouldn't have caught me calling myself an activist, like stalking some middle-aged guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's just ridiculous. I don't know. So it's just weird. So there's, it's just that, but I can tell you this is like, you got to keep going, you got to keep pushing. And that's what it was for me, is like, I can't imagine a lot of people like going through this and surviving it. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. And like, when these people use their resources, and particularly for me, I've been homeless. So like, yeah, not just once, but several times during this whole occasion here. That makes you even more vulnerable. I mean, it just turns into a fuck fest, okay? And it's just terrible. And the only thing you end up having, like I have ended up in many situations, it's just you and God, and that's it, okay? And your will to survive, and your will to make it, and your will to prove everybody wrong, and just be like, you know what? I don't care what people think. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm gonna make it, all these things that people have said, and all this crap, all this misinformation that people have lied to get money because they want to cover up certain things that they're involved in. I'm not interested. I don't want to be around people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not. Like, I'm good. Like, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be with my life. Like, I'm intact with my philosophy. It's always changing. Aristotle says a man's philosophy is not fully formed till he's 53. So I got a lot of time to refine. But at the end of the day, nothing's going to knock the moral compass that I have right now. Like, this is the way I've been for the past few years. And there has been a ton of people, and I just know this because these things, and I say them because they can affect your livelihood like they did mine. The smear campaign, the different things that were said about me, the way that, and I'm not even political. Like this is the thing. Like, people will find any little thing to find a reason to blackball you, to not give you the proper recognition that you deserve, whatever it is. Okay. So, and I said in the other video that I made, look, I take full responsibility. There are also external factors that have been at play here. I mean, extreme. So for me to just be up here and be like, oh, hunky dory, Danny doesn't know what the heck is going on, is crazy. I've had to ignore so many things. I've had my intelligence insulted many, many times by people I love. Like, it's ridiculous, okay? Like, it's just like, I'm so over it, People are over here, defending social justice. I don't know what they're doing, thinking I'm a bad guy or a danger to society, and I'm over here fighting real terrorists, like people that really want to kill you. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that lighthearted. I mean it, in a literal sense. Like, some of these people have had no good intentions at all, right? And some people would have loved to have enacted on them. Okay, so these are things that are important, and I don't mean you got to live in paranoia or in a state of fear. That's not. I mean the opposite. You need to do what you want to do, go where you want to go, be who you want to be, because that's all there is, So, and it takes a lot of forgiveness going through all of this thing. So, for me, it's like, all right, trying to find opportunity in Charlotte, knowing that yeah, there's a lot of people that really don't care for you at all. So that's a hard thing to stomach. I mean, when you at the level that I had to realize it, oh wow, I have never met these people. I do not know the half of them. You know, and I'll say this: I'm not somebody up here that is into bashing people. I'm really not. I'm not into gossip. I don't like this shit. But I got to tell this because it's important for other people to know. And some of these people that are, continuing to do this constantly, like, really, I mean, it's like I have pictures of some, like the knowledge that I have on so many of these people that have been involved is massive. And it's like, that's a different level to this type of thing. It really is. All along, I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere. I knew I wasn't going to be defeated in the long run, 100%. I never doubted that at all. I never doubted faith that he was going to protect me, that the truth will come out eventually. All of that, I had no doubt in it. But the journey that it's taken, that I'm still on, and it'd be tough. It'd be very tough. So with all of that I've spoken to you guys about right now, I don't want the targeted community to take things personally about that, but important that y'all understand that we have to get a very credible feel for this. Like if I sat you down and gave you the evidence that I have, you're going to have over 200 license plates meticulously documented. These are not just one-off plates. But back to what I was saying to you before about the camera system. So like I put myself intentionally for a certain period of time on those camera systems all the time because I knew I was getting tracked every single day from this location to that one, everywhere that I went. It didn't matter. Even when I went into the restrooms, this is how serious this is. It makes me think of that Eminem song where he's talking about having to be able to take a shit in the bathroom, and that's literally how it has been at times for me. That I can go into the gas station, I can go in there to use the restroom. All of a sudden, there's a bunch of guys coming in there. I can go into clean up, tidy up, a bunch of guys in there coming to take craps. It's intentional. Like that's the type of stuff. Like I'm not out here looking for this sort of. Okay? But when things start to happen like that, pick up on patterns, you the same people, the same. Okay, right? You get really good at it. You know what I'm saying? And that takes balance and knowing when to cut that off. Right? I don't overanalyze everything, but there has been a lot to analyze here in this situation. I'm talking, well over into the 200 mark of people. Okay, you're talking about 3 different high schools. You're talking, like I know my name's been all over, right? So it's like, whatever. You just show up, be who you are, and what I'm trying to do is take that as an advantage to show people the right thing to do, that who I really am, and what really we should be doing or trying to do, which is not this. I would never, ever, ever cooperate in some garbage like this. But so, and then the other thing is like it takes the isolation that occurs because of it is because there are so many people that are afraid. I totally get it. Believe me, I get it. I understand the type of peer pressure that gets involved with something like this. You don't want to step up and defend Danny. Like, even if I like him, even if I think he's the nicest guy in the world, this and that, and he, makes me feel good and, motivates me, whatever you want to say. Or he's a complete asshole, doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to want to say, hey, quit fucking with him. Because they're going to be afraid they're going to get the same treatment. Because the type of power that was exerted on me and the numbers that it was extreme. There's not a lot of people that are going to have the balls to stand up to that. Okay? It takes a very brave person, a very brave group, so on and so forth. And then it takes wise people to discern through the lies. It also takes people with their egos in check to not let their egos get in the way of making a clear judgment on what's happening in the situation, right? So all of these things are important, and I just think that we, like I said, I forgive people, I really do. I don't, that doesn't mean I'm a sitting duck, or I don't underestimate the evil that is out there, the evil that people just won't let cease and desist. I have reserves for that all day, okay? But I have to make myself available for the people that are sweet, that are kind, that want to show love, that want to have connections, that want to be honest, they want the best for me, they want the best for themselves, they want the best for their families, and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, if you're out there, you run across this video, I got a job right now. I walked out of the one I had because it was just, like I said, it was just the things with the jobs got so crazy in the situation. Really, the whole stability thing and the way they attacked that, it was just beyond anything. And then they had like all the kids. Like I got nothing. I love the kids, man. Like I'm big. Like I want to lead these kids and like help them see the right thing to do. Like I come from a really troubled past. Like I've really overcome a lot, and it's been years since I've overcome that stuff. It ain't just something I've overcome yesterday. Regardless of what people want to make you think. I didn't just start personal development yesterday. So the thing is, this is like, y'all got to see for yourselves, but I'm gonna tell you one thing is like, I'm gonna show up every day. I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna be the person that I told y'all I'm gonna be in my other videos. I'm gonna stand for justice. I'm gonna stand for truth. I'm not a bully. I do not like bullies. I hate them. Okay. And there's a lot of us out here that are getting bullied, and I'm tired of it. We got to stand up. We got to be strong. We got to speak up for each other, right? We can't allow our egoistic nature to get in the way of making connections, to fixing things. It's amazing to me how we will just continuously make things harder with lies, with deception, with just leave it, just forget it, just tell the truth already. Just some people just can't do it. Like they just don't understand that they've never had that feeling of being free. It's just they're free from this lie, they're free from that lie, and then they're immediately captured in the next lie that they've already told. And it's just every time they try and set themselves, another lie encircles them. You have to have pity for people like this, and we don't want to judge people, but we also don't want to be judged unless it's by God. Of course, it's human nature and people are going to do that, but it's our job to try and quell that inclination to just judge. That's not the way. And I want to say this about some of the religious groups that had their hand in this in Charlotte. I'm really disappointed. I really, really am. Like, I cannot say that enough. Like, for somebody that was on the receiving end of this, when you know that you had, not just one church, it'll blow your mind. You're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So like but you can't think like that. You can't get wrapped up into that thing, And I don't just mean I mean churches of all types, okay? A particular church has been very popular lately here, recently, with people doing like, run-ins and things like that. And that church, I'm telling you right now, I know for sure that could be a very dangerous. These people, some of these places, they have a lot of money, and I'm not afraid of anything. Believe me, these people have thrown their best at me. But the thing is you have to know who you're dealing with too. You have to know your enemy, when you're doing battle. And I'm telling you right now that some of these organizations and people like that, they have a lot of money. They're well documented and well known to do battle in that sort of play, in that sort of arena. And they certainly participate in gang stalking. That's one of the main psychological warfare tactics that they're going to use. So, all in all, look, it's a great tactic. You want to, like, for somebody, I don't know. I don't think so, actually. I take that back. I think it's garbage. The way that, the way that people did it to me in these huge numbers where they were able to recruit all these people, that takes some social engineering that's very impressive. I will give that to my enemies. They definitely were very coordinated. The coordination of surveillance, top tier, right? I mean, you got some of these young kids. I mean, I'll give it to them. These Hispanic groups, these activist groups in Charlotte. And I'm just saying it for what it is. This is what they did. I'm not an ICE agent. I just know because I've made my business to identify who's fucking with me daily. Okay, and it's not just been for a month. It's been for over a year this has been happening in all places I've lived in Charlotte, in all workplaces, everything. The workplace gets involved. It's just a lot of this. It's like it turned into, like I said, it turned into a political thing plus a Jewish hate thing. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a person that sees color and things like that. I really, really, really try and love everybody. That's the goal here. We were all one soul, all connected at one point, and all the shatterings occurred. And why I say that in a lot of these videos is like all of these are just more shatterings and more shatterings and more shatterings. It's like, wow, when do we stop? Right? When do we really see an individual for just who they're, just an individual, like as a human being, like the pure essence of a human, right? Their natural desire to have food, to have shelter, to have, like, what? Who picks on a homeless person? Like, I don't know, but everybody did here. It's like going to the zoo for these people. I'm just saying. I don't know. But anyway, look, so that's what I'm saying is you can't explain why these people do some of these things. It's for a lot of different reasons, right? Not everybody at every stage of the game has the same motive, right? That's what you got to remember too. So, look, I mean, I think I covered it all pretty good today. I think that I hope that I got, some for the targeted individuals. I keep getting distracted for the camera stuff. You're going to have to, once you get to a point where the pattern and the cars, the certain cars that are, like for me, I would get a tail of 4 or 5 cars every day. As of late, going to and from different locations, even just the last time I drove, it's 12, 15 cars. They're so advanced, they follow ahead. For the longest time, I cannot figure out, whether it's my phone, and I know I'm giving a lot of information here, but, I really don't give a shit. Either it's my phone or it's something on the car. So it's like, yeah, it's plausible. Okay, the car's plausible. Yes, I've lived and gone inside places and I knew the car's been tampered with, whatever. I'm not saying, I know. It's just pulled off, sensors pulled off the front. People are trying to do all sorts of stuff, especially at the height of your targeting, right? And you got to be aware of that sort of thing. And if you don't have people that have eyes for you or just have your back at all, you don't have a significant other around you, you don't have a good friend, you're just that much of an easier target, if you don't have cameras constantly. So anyway, you've got to know that when that's happening, you got to start going down these routes. You got to know where these flock cameras are in Charlotte. Charlotte has, and I'm not saying this because when people want to be like, hey, look, Danny, I don't F with you, bro. Shoot me the ones. Okay. You're not doing that, though. You guys are playing this different game where you guys want to use law enforcement. You want to call the police, and then you want to act like with the street guys, you don't do that. And then what I'm supposed to do? Just be a duck out here? Come on. Nah. So I'm not playing that. I don't have anything to prove like that. What's up and what's up. So you got to make sure that you're playing the game better than these people to a certain extent, okay? And they're never, ever going to act like they're getting hit. I'm telling you, they're pros at that. They're never going to act like they're getting karma. They're never going to act like they're paying their dues. They're professional actors. You're not going to see it. Okay? If you're blessed like me and you've really been able to, I don't mean blessed like me, it doesn't sound like that. But if you've really done your due diligence and you've really learned some tricks about counter surveillance and different things like that, then you'll know when they're getting karma, and also you pay attention to the energy shifts. The stalking will decrease. You'll stop seeing certain cars. People will stop coming around you doing it. because either they've been pulled over, they've been checked, they've gotten a DUI or a DWI. A lot of these people do this drunk, high on drugs while they're driving around, stalking you. Like, you name it. You know, like, it's for real. Like, I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, people are like, you know, it's a shame. See the nice young girls, like, getting pop controlled substances and shit. Like, what are you doing? Y'all would not be in trouble, I guarantee you, if you weren't out there trying to harass Danny at all hours of the night and this and that. I'm almost positive we wouldn't have any issues like that, right? But that's just the laws of the universe. It's just everything has a reaction to it, right? So anyway, you got to make sure that you're in, visibility, because like a lot of these people don't realize it is like these cameras are used constantly. You know, like they're live feeds, they're used, bam, right to the officers, right to dispatch, You're being constantly surveillanced in Charlotte anyway. Okay, so that's just, these people think like they're 007 over here, and they don't realize, you guys are being watched the whole time anyway. So yes, we want to be blatant in the fact that, we're gonna mob this person, this and that. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna gather enough documentation to submit, okay? And like, I mean, you're gonna have to shove it down some of these departments' throats, especially if they're gonna give you backlash in the beginning, right? And then like if certain officers give you issues, you may have to file internal affairs reports. That may not help you. I would say that that's last resort. Really try and handle it a different way. Mine was not, I didn't go that route. And it is what it is. But it gave people a lot of leverage in the beginning of this whole situation with me. But that's the other reason why I say it's important, like in the video, not to be so conspiratorial, because if I'm just like the whole department, this is ridiculous. You can't just talk like that. You'll never get any help. Number one, it can't be the whole department. Like, is everybody that corrupt? Is it really that much of a cabal? Like, yes, I'm talking about people that do this sort of thing. I'm talking about, yes, this stuff goes deep into, certain areas, and there's bad actors in all areas of government and all, I'm sure, cities and law enforcement and city councils or whatever, right? But I just don't think it's everybody, okay? So that's the balance you have to have with this whole thing. You cannot just automatically default to everybody. That's just immediately going to kill your credibility. Like, you've got to be, like, you got to be so surgical with this thing. If you rode with me and you were like, Danny, like, I hate to say this, but like some of these people may have stopped stalking me. It doesn't mean I don't remember their license plate in their car. It doesn't mean I'm confronting them, because now I know they are stopped stalking me. Now I'm seeing them in a normal occurrence like I normally would in Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that serious for me. Like, it's not like I'm a pro at this. Okay, because my life has been on the line in certain circumstances. Also, I really do believe there has been people that have been interested in hurting not just me, but other American citizens, other Jews, other Christians, other people of denominations here in Charlotte. It's the way it is. So at the end of the day, like, look, that's what it is. You got to force this stuff. So you got to get on these. You got to pick a route, or several routes where okay, you're going to be picked up on these cameras. So then when you file the report, you're going to be able to cite the days, the times. When you're on those routes, those cameras, they had to pick up those license plates in the cars. There's no way that they didn't. Okay? Now, whether or not they're going to pull that and use it for evidence and open up an investigation is a whole nother story. Now, that's where the challenge comes in, okay? Because this is such a foo-foo-y thing, especially if people don't directly threaten you and things like that. It's cops, especially if they're not willing to help you outright, they haven't seen stuff like this, or maybe even one of them may be involved or knows somebody who is involved, because think about how many people are involved. If you think about, like for me, 200 license plates, I'm just going to give you a round number. It's about that. Easy. There's more than, that's just a car, right? How many people are usually driving a car? Yeah, you got one person driving a car at a time, but like usually it belongs to a household. There's more than one person in that household. More than one person usually has access to that vehicle. So it's like, it's 200 plates, but it's certainly more than that. And then when you start to incorporate the different companies that got involved because somebody wanted them to, or they had a part to play in it, or because they have an ideological view that people have said, hey, this guy's this. I don't know exactly what people have said. God knows, right? But it couldn't have been good. So at the end of the day, it's like you got to stand on who you are. You can't hide. You can't do that. You just got to be you and continue to push forward. And but I have not been speaking willy-nilly about this whole thing. So that's what I want to make clear with y'all is like, I'm not out here just talking about gang stalking or targeted harassment or harassment in general, because I think that covers this pretty well, because I understand over speaking about something like that. It's important to know when to speak about it. You know, it's taken a lot of analysis for me. I've been very careful about what I know, what I have determined to be true to me based on the perceptions that I've had. Like, yeah, it's real. It happened to me, right? I wouldn't wish this upon anybody else. It's horrible, you know? And, you know, and it's hard for me not to think that this didn't have something to do with my brother, right? Like, it's just, I don't want to get into that whole rabbit hole with people here right now, but I just wanted to get on here because I really don't want to be like that. There's people that may watch my channel. I want to trigger them right now and open up wounds, but there's a lot that I'm aware of, and it's sad. But something's really got to be done about this whole thing, you know. Like they had that one couple in South Carolina that was recently arrested and whatever for harassing that kid to the point where he committed suicide. It's like for a lot of these people. So I mean, it really is to like make you uncomfortable. Like, yeah, I didn't sleep well last night. You know what I mean? But I'm also sleeping in a car, not at a truck stop. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, some nights I'm not going to get good sleep. And also, I do believe that you're going to have to sacrifice sleep sometimes if you want real success or real move. It's just the way it goes. You know, like I do believe we sleep a huge part of our life away. I know somebody's probably hearing this, they probably be like, asshole. But look, just like for the people that aren't the targeted individuals out there that watch my channel, the spiritual people, the people that are looking for hope, the people that are homeless, the people that are just struggling, like with making decisions, with standing up for something that you believe in, that you feel like you need to, like, I get it. I really do. Like struggling with feeling like you're not going to fit in and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's real. And I feel like we're at a time right now where it's never been so cutthroat as it is now. They'll burn you at the stake. I mean, you know, really, it's a sad situation for some people right now. So, I mean, I do believe that a lot of us are, you know, in situations where either we're 2 paychecks, 4 paychecks away from being where I'm at. You know, I'm not, so that's been one of the main goals for me here and with this channel, is to be flexible, be transparent with everybody, to show the raw. I want y'all to see really what it's like. You know, this is what it is, right? I'm not doing it in the car right now because it's super hot. So I'm over here at the park. This is a park I've stepped at multiple times in my journey. And, you know, another thing that's got to be said is like, you know, back in Florida now, what is it? 2014. Last time I've been on like drugs like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I've been clean for a while. Okay. So for me to have this sort of thing happen in a person's life when, you know, they're not on dope, they're not doing the wrong things, they've been working on themselves and personal development for years now, and you can't help it. What's going on? Ask yourself, what's the situation here? So that's part of it. It has been harassment. It has been a lot of that sort of thing that I've been speaking about in the video. So look, I know I went on a rant, but I'm done here now. It was my first live. I'm glad for everybody that showed up. Even if you ended up leaving, that's fine. people that didn't catch it now, hopefully they'll rewatch it and maybe gain something that's insightful. But I'm telling you, for this whole thing, for you to conquer this gang stalking thing, you're going to have to really go through it. If you don't have money and they do a successful job of helping you get terminated, of helping you get ostracized and blackballed in the community where you live, it's even harder. You got to be ready for that. If you don't have a support system, if your family is getting involved in any sort of way, which happens for a lot of us, right? You're going to have to be ready for that too. You know, there'll be people that come up all from your past ready to say how they all knew you were going to be a loser and how you were going to never be nothing in a street. Whatever that's going to fit the narrative that helps them. Anything that doesn't show the truth, that they are what they're portraying you to be, right? So anyway, look, everybody stay strong. You're going through this. Like I said, keep fighting, keep praying, keep God at your side, right? Telling you, you're going to get to a point. Last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. So many of you, I think, want to know, how do you go through a spiritual awakening, and how do you do this, and how do you do that? It's not something you ask for. This is how I think it happens. This is how it happened for me. After you go through, so I've always been close to God, right? I've always kept him close. Even as a boy, I have, okay? He's always been the backdrop for me. I haven't always been the best studied boy, but he was always there, right? Never deviated is what I'm saying, ever. So the thing is, this is when you go through a lot of challenges in your life, and I mean some real challenges, there's going to be a couple that really hit you, and those are designed. Those ones right there are designed to, if I buy him, right, to get you to come closer. So it's a design period of darkness. It can be so dark, right? It just takes everything you have about you away, just gone, right? One of the ones happened for me immediately after my first marriage. That's when it happened. I can remember jogging outside and just crying, and like, not crying because of the situation, crying because like I get emotional anytime I hear the Lord's name and prayer and song and things like that. Anytime I read scripture or any sort of studying, it's hard for me to contain some of my emotions sometimes. So I can remember just jogging, crying out to him, and saying the holy name over and over and over and over and over again as I was running. And that night, something happened. That was the moment for me. All of a sudden, just the strength came over me. This like feeling of like something was just with me. And then all of a sudden, like just like clockwork, I was already, before that happened, before the end, I was already really dipping my toe deeper into some of the spiritual concepts of Judaism, right? The deeper concepts. Not that I'm an expert, but the concepts that really interested me, that drew me closer to him anyway, to the light. And that's what's important. What draws you nearer to him, continue in that, you know? So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is like these things were designed to, there's a couple of instances that happen. So like that was one for me. There was several others, but not like quite as dark, where I was really felt like so betrayed, completely all alone, you name it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Whoop down, man, right? And I cried out to him, and he was there. And then, just like I'm telling you, like clockwork, like all these signs and synchronicity just started pouring out from the universe. He just started showing me all these things. Like all of a sudden, just like nature opened up a door, and I'm not on no hallucinogenics. I'm not kidding you. Like I've never seen so much wildlife around me in my life ever. Right? That the hawk thing that I speak about on the channel, like that is just like, that is remarkable to me. You know, the way that it happens so frequently, it gives me goosebumps talking about it. Okay, and I have never been that type of person. I always believe, and you literally crying out to him, right? And I'm telling you, he sent his angel. Like it just happens. Like, boom, He's like, all right, send them some action. And all of a sudden you either don't believe it, and that's when I think that he understands that either you're not going to continue with that journey there. Like, it's a lot to take in, the type of spiritual awakening that some people have, and how long it could last for some people, the type of spiritual traumas people have, and the type of things that they go through, the type of, I don't like to talk about spiritual warfare so much, but it's a thing. It happens. It's real out there. We speak about it in faith. We speak about it. We know it's there. It's written. It's been around for thousands of years. And but you've got to be so good at battling that's like second nature. That's like that hits you. It's like ding ding, nothing, right? These people got nothing if they don't got hundreds of people. These people got nothing if they don't got money to pay for things. These people don't got nothing. They just don't got nothing. That's what it is. You got to have heart. You got to have this. You got to have spirit. So, like, yeah, it's easy to attack somebody in numbers. It's easy to act tough when you got 10 boys behind you, 5 boys behind you, when you're riding 3 deep everywhere you go. It's always easy like that. It's easy when you got a Draco. It's easy when you got the tool on tuck everywhere you go. But how easy is it when you're all alone? When it's just these sometimes. How easy is it? Right? How easy when you're facing a lot of multiple enemies at once? Then you have to start to use your brain. You have to know when to fight, when not to fight. There's a lot to this whole thing. And then still trying to stay on your path to the positive, to the good, to the light. So you're going to take those moments of darkness and you're going to let them mold you, because that's what we got to do. That's what they're there for. King Solomon knew about this, that the darkness is powerful in its own way, and that it serves its own purpose, right? So we go into darkness so that we can be tired of darkness and look to the light again. That's the whole idea. But people that go into the darkness and then they get stuck in the darkness and they don't know how to get out, they enjoy it too much, they delight in it, or they just get trapped in it, right? And they just don't see a way out ever again. They don't try to come out again. They don't look for him again. That's the problem. So that's not fulfilling your mission, in my opinion. You're supposed to come here, fix what's broken, fight the darkness. How do you know what's dark? How do you know what's a problem? Because you've been there and you've seen it in its darkest forms. You've been there in the trenches. You've seen what it's like to not have food multiple times. You've seen what it's like to not have shelter multiple times. You've been around filth. You've been around people that are just evil spirits, people that aren't good, that are lost, right? But you got to come away from that. No matter how many times God's going to take you back in there to refine your skills, you're going to have to go there, refine them, and come back out. That's it. So that's the whole thing, is don't let the darkness suck you in and keep you there. The darkness is not more powerful than the light. Remember that. Okay? I've been saying this since I even stepped foot on YouTube. There's too much power granted to the darkness. Okay? It's cooler to be on the side of light. Believe me. Okay? He's gonna see you through the end. Okay? So I know I got on a spiritual tangent there at the end, but you know what? I'm glad I did this. Whatever. It is what it is. I want all of you to be happy. I want all my subscribers to do well, to be successful. To the community out there, just know, like, don't get tricked up. Remember y'all's mission. Remember your all's roles. Everybody's got a role, right? Some of us got dual roles. Some of us are, triple threats out here. Okay, I get it, But let's not get lost in our own egos, our own aspirations, our own wants. And I know this is easier said than done, and sacrifice the collective as a result. we always, because it's going to be hard not to include yourself and speak about yourself, because this is what this is. It's a shared experience, you know. But it's important that we remember why we're doing what we're doing, and to stick together, to really work together as a team. To enemies infiltrating the camp. Okay? It's so important. Use your discernment. Remember, it's not us versus them. It's not anything like that, right? Remember how we say energies are fluent. Let's stick to that, and let's make sure that we're really honoring that, right? Let's make sure that we're giving, we're stepping in each other's shoes and looking at different things from, each other's perspective, and trying to understand why people may do different things they may do. And therefore make it easier when it's necessary. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, the live. Know that I love all of you. If you're new and you hopped in, you happen to see this, hit the like button, subscribe. Know that I love all of you. Until the next video, peace.